Welcome to intermediate level SoleMate sessions. So the major thing that we'll be doing to step up the difficulty in intermediate is to change up our stances. So let's start by going through those stance variations. First of all, and probably the easiest of the intermediate stances, is single leg stance. And that's because you've got this leg here free to help you balance. So obviously you really only need one half of the SoleMate to do that, and you'll be wanting to explore both sides. The next stance is a tandem stance. So that is just with both feet on the SoleMate and they're completely in line. So very similar to split stance, but with tandem you can also have the back leg down for certain activities that can make things harder. Next up, you've got fencing stance. So very similar, except this time you're just turning out this leg so that if you just see, the back foot has the ball of the foot along the center of the SoleMate, and the front foot is the same as it was for tandem. From there, you've also got a long split stance. So that's just where you are basically doing a split stance, but you're increasing the length between the SoleMate halves. So you can adjust the length based on what you're able to do mobility wise. Obviously, the further you step that one back, the more mobility demands will be on your hip and also on your toes of the back foot. You can also adjust the width of that split stance to make that easier on your balance. So you just play with those variables as much as you need to suit your current ability. And the last variation to that is just making the front foot perpendicular so that the ball of your foot goes along the top of the SoleMate. So you can play with all of those variations. This one will just give you a bit more of a stimulus, obviously through the ball of your foot, and give you some extra demands on your calf and your ankle. Now, last but not least, certainly the hardest of the intermediate stances is a ninja stance, and that is with both feet set up with the balls on the top of the SoleMate like that and the toes wrapping over. And there are a couple of variations to this. There's arch ninja, where you're doing the same thing but you're just standing on your arches. And then there's heel ninja, exact same thing but obviously standing on your heels. So those are all of the stances. You can adjust as you go depending on your ability level, and something that you can do either before going on to the intermediate sessions or as part of your intermediate level training is actually to go back and do the beginner sessions but use those intermediate stances. You'll be surprised how much of an increase of challenge that is just by changing the stance to one of those ones. So as for the tools that will be helpful and that we use throughout these sessions, you've got all the same tools: your hacky, your dowel or broomstick, some kind of racket and paddle combination. The main addition here is just some kind of weight. So I like kettlebells. You could also use a dumbbell, or you could just use like a 5-liter water bottle with some water in it, or a shopping bag. Basically anything that has a handle that you can add a bit of weight to will do the job. And aside from that, once you're set up with your stances, you know how they work, and you've got your tools, you're ready to start training the intermediate level. Remember, you can always go into our community app to share struggles, share progress, or any questions. We love seeing what you're up to, and we're always happy to help you along your journey.